Have you guys ever seen the movie
up,
Nothing to Lose?
Oh, I love that
Sounds
movie.
familiar.
Tony has it right now. He won't watch it, but he
It's not
has
that
it.
I won't. Just haven't had a chance.
I bought it, and I let him borrow it.
It's so
It's gotten
funny.
extremely
It's got
difficult.
Martin Lawrence in it.
Love that movie.
It's gotten extremely difficult to watch R-rated movies in my house.
Oh, yeah. Jenny doesn't watch them, huh?
Nope. She set a 2020 New Year's resolution to stop watching them, and
Well,
she's stuck to
2020's over.
it. Right?
Kind
She
of.
did it. Congratulations, Jenny.
We got to
did it.
redo. We got to redo. You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
The Cold War.
Reminds you of the Cold War.
The Cold War. That's right.
Please explain, Cam.
I will. So, picture this, my friends. 1949. Okay?
Yep.
You
Much
woke
like
up-
Tony's house right
Much
now.
like-
I was going to say
Tony's
Tony's house is the Cold War right now.
Exactly. 1949. You woke up. You know, you got your fun little jiving beats on the radio. You're having a good day. You pick up the morning paper. What do you see? War. Exactly, but not.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's possible war.
Oh.
Because in 1949, we found out that the Soviet Union had themselves a nuclear bomb. Up to that point, we were the only people with those, big guns on the court.
Is this where the... Oh, what did they call this?
Cuban.
Cuban Missile Crisis? Is
Yeah.
that where this came into play?
It was part of the Cold War.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not the very beginning of the Cold War.
The
All
Cuban
right.
Missile Crisis, that was in the mid-70s, wasn't it?
No. 60s,
I don't know.
I think. It was during JFK.
Yes.
Yeah.
And basically, Russia was like, hey, you guys cool if we just park these missiles in Cuba real close to you and stuff? We're not going to use them. That caused all kinds of issues.
Thank goodness for Magneto and Professor Xavier stopping that.
Right?
Which actually leads to another
Thank
really
God.
cool conspiracy we should talk about one day. But anyways,
Yeah.
Which conspiracy? You got me on the ropes.
about the
Mutants?
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn.
And an actual submarine that went down with the call sign of a different country that could have caused a war between other countries.
That's not even that's been proven.
It's been proven
good
that it
thing
happened. They
he's
don't
doing
know
sign
how it went
language,
down.
yeah.
Right?
But
Okay.
that one's real good. It's
Yeah.
real good. We'll
Hey,
talk.
Real quick, because it's coming up, September 11th,
Ooh,
we should do a 9/11 conspiracy.
I'm down.
That should be...
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
talk
sorry.
about it,
The
All right.
9/11 conspiracies, those people are a bunch of idiots.
bro.
But there's a lot that goes into
there
it.
is.
There is, but they're
There's
a bunch
some
of idiots.
interesting things.
They're a bunch of idiots.
I'll make sure to have a TV with projection so that you can see the crazy, because I've
That's
seen
right.
some of it.
Yeah.
We'll get a whiteboard. We'll get the extendo thing, slap it a few times. Get some
Laser
red
point.
string
Yeah.
and connect everything.
It'll
with
be like
pictures.
that Charlie Day meme where he's like, free.
I used to be with you on that, and then I started seeing some things. I'm like, oh, they're not so crazy.
On the surface,
Yeah.
dude. On the surface, you're like a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah.
Once you get in, you're like,
Bizarre.
that is thought provoking. You'll see.
Hence why it's a conspiracy.
Ready? Join Zach that day and be astonished with him.
All
It'll be
right.
great.
Sorry to distract you.
No worries.
Press on.
So, Cold War, we found out the Soviets had a nuke. But what was more disturbing is how they got their hands on a nuke. Do you know how they did that?
China.
Not this time.
No.
Spies.
Really?
Yes.
I was going to say they somehow brought Einstein back from the dead, and
No.
was he alive back then? I don't even know.
He was German.
Yeah, but that he was the one that helped us make our nuke, right?
Yeah. He was a refugee
was already over here.
from Germany who they were trying to have him create it for them, and then he escaped. That's a whole cool story in itself.
Dude, Einstein's a rad dude.
Einstein's going to be on the list now.
He's
too.
on the list. We got to talk about Einstein.
Yeah.
Now,
Why don't you introduce us?
so what I'm getting into is what was essentially the spy era of the world. So Cold War is basically the height of spying. There could be spies anywhere, any one of us. I mean, Zach here could be a spy. Tony could be a spy. Austin or Chris or me, Cameron, any one of us here at Five's a Crowd could be a spy.
Wow. Okay. Way to intro it.
I apologize for interrupting you earlier.
Can we get that on record? It's okay.
I forgive you.
Although I have a feeling you weren't going to do that earlier.
You would never know,
I
now
know.
would you?
I wouldn't.
That's never mind.
Well, as we go on in this not knowing of things that could happen, none of us could know if any of us were a spy. And so that leads us to something that the U.S. government should be ashamed of, but did anyways. And that is created a program called Operation Bluebird,
Yeah.
which later became known as MK Ultra.
Can we start the origin? Can I talk about the origin of that a little bit?
I would love you to tell them about the origin.
Okay, February 3rd, 1949. Joseph Menzani. It's spelled the same, but it's the pronunciation's different in different countries. All
Wanna
right.
say you
Who was a
butchered that.
Yeah, I did. Big time. He was a Hungarian cardinal, and he was speaking out against communism. He got arrested for what do they call that? Propaganda. And he's still speaking out against it. Next day, they do a trial, and the guy acts like a zombie and is very, very monotone, talking to at his trial, and admits to all the charges that they brought against him. These fake charges.
Wait, like when you say he's acting, is it like he's acting, or is he? That's just his.
He's very much out of character.
Out of character. Yeah. So, I mean, he's acting bizarre. So, and he admits to all the claims. This brings in where the CIA think now Russia has a mind control program. Okay, continue.
Exactly. So now not only do we have spies to worry about and nukes, we also think that Russia, or the Soviet Union at the time, is now brainwashing people. Whether it be brainwashing our own troops and our own spies to give up secrets, or they're brainwashing people to,
Do bad things.
Exactly. At a moment's notice, tell them a trigger word and they blow something up, or they shoot somebody, or they do something, right? So everyone's all worried about brainwashing. And so that is when MK Ultra is born. We get ourselves this guy, Sidney Gottlieb. That's his name. Gottlieb.
Well, it starts out before that with Wilson Green, Wilson Green, who was an Army intelligence officer
Are you talking about the guy that
before Gottlieb.
is he the one that witnessed what the Koreans were doing to American soldiers during the Korean War?
He wrote a report called Psychochemical Warfare and a New Concept of War that brought in the whole idea of this MK Ultra, mind control, all that.
Mind control.
And then Albert Hoffman was a Swiss scientist who was trying to discover an antibiotic, or no, blood thickening cure, and ended up discovering LSD.
Yes. Which comes into play in here in just a minute.
Let's just put that there.
I mean, that's an important factoid. You need to know about this, okay? So we get things rolling. Sydney starts this program with the CIA, and at this time, the CIA, honestly, like, it was kind of the Wild West in the CIA. They pretty much would just do whatever they wanted.
They had free range, yeah.
They had
Basically
free
had
reign.
like a license to kill.
Oh yeah, like I mean, again, we have spies on spies. They can do whatever they want. They're doing all this stuff. So Sidney Gottlieb starts this program researching mind control. Okay, his concept, his entire idea was a two-step program. You had to first remove the mind that anybody had, like remove it, and then replace it with a new mind in whatever void was created when you removed it. So we're not talking about like actually removing the brain, but through
They wanted
using different substances, through hypnosis, through all this different stuff.
Even torture, right?
Torture, exactly. Electroshock therapy, drugs, all this stuff, basically breaking down the person completely and rebuilding them into what you wanted them
They wanted
to
to
be.
wipe your memory clean. But still functional. Be functional.
I can't be the only one here, but I'm thinking this is like a 007 James Bond movie in the making.
That's what
right
I was
here.
actually about to
Yeah.
ask. When does 007 come into all this?
I mean, if you think about it, this has actually influenced a lot of media.
I mean, it'd have to.
Like,
right?
well, there's movies. I mean, they mention it in Red. If you've ever seen Retired, Extremely Dangerous. There's the one
that
character.
Is
What's
that what
his?
red stands for?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, nice.
Not Bruce Willis, but the other
John
John
Malkovich.
Malkovich.
John Malkovich
Yeah.
is the super weird guy. Have you seen it? You should see it. Good movie.
It is a great movie.
John Malkovich plays this kind of off the wall, like crazy person.
Unhinged.
And in the middle of it, this lady that Bruce Willis is with, she's like, what's going on with this guy? And he's like, oh, back in the 60s, he thought that he was being dosed with LSD and people were trying to control his mind, all this stuff. And she's like, no way, really? What happened? And Bruce Willis is like, oh, well, he was right.
That's crazy. All right,
But
press
you have
on.
that. There's a movie, The Manchurian Candidate. I've never seen it.
I've wanted to see that.
I want to see it. I've heard
That
good
is
things.
very much based on MK Ultra. There's that movie American Ultra with Jesse Eisenberg and
seen that
Kristen
one.
Stewart.
Yeah.
Is 100% about MK Ultra. So it has its references. Even Stranger Things is kind of based on this kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, out of curiosity, what does MK Ultra mean and stand for? Because every time I hear it, I think of Mortal Kombat.
I was going to say Mortal Kombat.
But like, what does it really stand for?
I don't know. It's just a code name.
There's not an answer, huh?
Yeah, there's not.
I was looking for it too. I was like, is it
Yeah,
M stand
it
for
doesn't.
something? Does the K stand for something? No.
McUltra.
Well,
It
it was,
literally was like a call sign for it.
well, it
Really?
started out Project Bluebird, like you had said, which means they wanted people to sing like a bird. So they wanted to find people who were spies and actually make them tell us what's going on in Russia.
Oh, so sing like a bird, not literally.
Yeah,
Like sing as in just open
Just
mouth,
as it-
start talking.
yeah.
I mean,
figure of speech. Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So like I couldn't find anything for what MK Ultra stood
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
for. But so anyway, so this guy starts doing experiments, and he gets some soldiers to volunteer. They even go to prisoners and have prisoners volunteer.
Yep.
One of them was this very infamous crime boss that they got to volunteer for it, and basically it was he would do the experiments in exchange for more conjugal visits. So more sexy time for him, and he'd join these experiments, right?
And shorter jail time. Yeah.
Exactly, shorter jail time. Well, he was quoted saying that like he after a while he didn't want to do it anymore. He's like, this isn't what I signed up for. They were dosing him with LSD. And so he was like, I'm seeing blood coming out of the walls. I'm seeing men turn to
gosh.
skeletons right in front of me. I saw a camera turn into a dog's head. Like all this crazy stuff is happening. And he claims that it caused brain damage, like significantly down the road, like permanent brain damage. Well, back to the LSD subject. So this was a brand new drug. LSD was hot on the scene. It was designed in Switzerland, like you said. Gottlieb got the CIA to buy up the world's supply of LSD at the time and brought it all to the US.
Now, what can you explain what LSD does?
It's a psychedelic drug. What it does is you start having hallucinations, and in the real world actually starts blending into where you don't know what's real and what's an hallucination. It starts out with, not from personal experience, but it starts out with streams and tracers and colors variants, and then it gets deep. And you
And
start
is it
tripping.
like an injection, or is it a
No, it's a powder.
It's a powder.
Yeah.
Powder, pill.
They put it on a patch. People would put it on a patch, put it in their tongue. People would put it in their eye, a drop of it in their eye.
Was it?
It's absorbed.
Do you remember a few years back when that guy, like practically ate that homeless guy in Florida? Wasn't he on some
That was
kind of
bath
salts.
salts.
Oh,
Which was another form of something crazy.
gotcha.
Yeah, so LSD stands for lysergic acid diethylamide.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Exactly. That is actually about this.
We all live in a yellow submarine.
Right.
I mean, the Beatles were for sure on LSD.
Well, they actually say that there's ties to them being
Even Pink
connected to
Floyd.
MK Ultra as well. So you don't know.
So real quick to answer Austin's question, MK Ultra came from, it's a combination of a digraph, which is like two characters put together
Yeah.
to make it or whatever, indicating the sponsorship of technical services staff, which is they are a form of the CIA, which includes like gadgets, disguises, all that
007.
stuff. Yes.
Got it.
So MK, it's two words combined, and then Ultra was designated to the most secret classification of World War II. Like the British used it. So it's something that had the code word Ultra into it meant it was one of the most most secret classifications.
Wait, so what was the MK then?
So the MK, it's a diagraph, which is indicating the sponsorship of the TSS, which is
Where's the
disguises.
MK come from?
It's a diagraph.
Yeah.
I don't know what diagraph means.
It's is a pair of characters used in language to write either a single phoneme, like a distinct sound, or a sequence of distinct sounds.
So it's
Kind of like an onomatopoeia.
Okay.
Ultra.
But everything I looked up said
children.
like it was just somebody's guess on what it really
Yeah,
meant.
I was gonna say this is off of Wikipedia, so but that's what they're saying is the origin of it, which it
is
makes
cool.
sense.
Yeah.
Or Ultra, it's basically really, really top secret. So you've got MK Ultra,
Yep.
100% top secret.
Super secret.
Yep. So Gottlieb got all this LSD from around the world, got it all to the US. He then starts sending it to medical institutions, to universities, to all these different places under the guise of a research company. So he's sending this stuff out to all these random places.
It's all volunteer at this point.
Exactly. All volunteer at this point.
wow,
Sending it to
this
all these
sounds a lot
places.
like Pfizer.
Dude.
Demonetized.
Well, I'm going home. We're gone.
Interesting.
saying.
Wide dissemination.
Man,
Huh.
I think I saw a white van pull up outside.
Everyone get a text from the FBI.
Conspiracy. Sorry, I just connected the dots.
Shots
for real.
fired. Shots fired.
Okay, I mean, they've done it before.
Pellet in my leg.
They've done it before. Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
is that an umbrella?
For real though, they've done it before. I mean,
Yeah.
And so he's sending this out. The people. So turns out that there's like over 162-ish sub projects of MK Ultra.
Oh yeah.
So he was conducting experiments through other people who didn't even know they were conducting the experiments for the CIA.
He called them as safe houses.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. So he's sending them out to all these institutions, having them administer them in different ways, and they think they're just doing research. They have no idea that they're helping the CIA try to find a way to mind control people.
Yeah.
I hate that we're talking about this, and there's literally a vaccine being forced on people right now.
They even get to a point where they are giving people drugs who don't even know they are being given drugs.
Yeah. And then video.
Oh my god! Holy crap! My mind's blown right now. Okay, keep going. So wait, why are these satellite companies administering? What's the purpose behind them administering the drug?
Research.
So what's the research?
Well,
on?
LSD is brand new. Nobody really knows what it does. So, I mean, they could be they essentially would send it to a place and have them researching a certain aspect of it. How does it affect this kind of person in this situation? They were administering it to mental patients.
Why LSD? Why, like, as far as other drugs go, heroin, cocaine,
They
things
tried
like,
those.
They do the
Oh, they tried
they
them all.
did it all.
LSD was their main focus because
of
it
the
was
mental.
new.
Oh,
And there were also rumors at the time that the Soviet Union was trying to buy up all the LSD in the world and use it. And so they were thinking, oh, okay, they already know some brainwashing stuff. They're trying to take the LSD for themselves. We got to take it and use it and figure it out first. So it became this weird,
just
crazy
like
race.
landing on the moon.
Yes, but a little worse.
Yeah.
Because
We landed on.
again, Gottlieb had full control and nobody was watching.
Who was the CIA director at the time? Because he got in good with the CIA director.
Yep, the CIA director and the guy above him. So there were two different people.
Yeah, so you get the CIA director. So his plan was to get in good with the CIA director. Once you get in green lighted with the CIA director, like they're no holds barred. You can do
Whatever you want.
Yes.
And the CIA director and the other guy that was above him, they didn't want details. They're like, don't tell us crap.
Just tell us if it works. Yeah.
The plausible deniability. They don't have to lie if they don't know the answer.
Yeah.
So
Shady.
he straight up had full freedom to do whatever he wanted for 10 years.
he would experiment regularly on himself. He would do self-medicated things just to see, because he says you have to get in the mind of what this is doing.
He was wild. Think that Stanford prison experiment on a much grander scale.
Wow.
And without people even knowing they were part of the experiment.
And drugs. Lots of drugs.
I almost said the same thing. We almost had a quad there. I almost said it at that exact same time, but I held back. Dang it.
So
We should have all said it.
I should have. I was holding my tongue. Dang it.
So what I mean, granted, this, even though he had free reign and could do this stuff, this was super illegal. Like, very illegal. You were conducting human experiments. So like I said, they were conducting on mental patients. There's this one.
They started out on monkeys, though. They were doing
I
on
didn't
monkeys.
see that part.
I listened to...
I didn't care about monkeys. They
Well,
probably gave it to one monkey and they're like, hey, give it to that guy.
But the crazy thing about the monkeys is that there was a very high mortality rate.
Oh my God.
So then they're like,
So
well...
we're killing all the monkeys.
Yeah. And then so they're like, well, let's just go to people.
Let's just try it on a person.
So they went to the Beatles.
Did you mention how much this cost? The U.S.
No, I did not.
So
Starting grant.
they spent an estimated $10 million, which adjusted for inflation these days is $87.5 million
Yeah.
in government funds.
And where did the government get
Taxes.
those funds?
Us.
Exactly.
I think, though...
Technically, I wasn't alive.
I think that is adjusted with inflation.
Yeah, 87.5 is adjusted.
No, I think okay, because of what I was reading too is like he'd get grants for $300,000, which is about
ton of
3
money.
million. 3 million nowadays.
yeah. In the 50s.
So somewhere between 10 and 87 million.
Somewhere between 10 and $1 billion.
He had a lot of money, and here's the other thing: is he didn't have to, because he wasn't being watched. He didn't have to keep records. So some of his records, he didn't even, if they turned out bad, he just wouldn't write it down.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You know, somebody like their head explodes. We don't know because he didn't write it down.
Do you have the biologist's name that was involved too?
Yes. I will be getting to him.
Okay.
So first, I want to talk about what did they call it? Like Sub Project 68.
Okay.
So this was in Canada, actually. So this Canadian mental hospital was testing the LSD and hypnosis and keeping people in medical-induced comas, and while making them listen to like tapes, like
Now,
And watching movies.
brainwashing, making them watch movies.
is this all part of the American thing too?
Yes,
So,
this is under the umbrella.
Okay.
The Supreme Court, way later, once this all came to light, basically said that there's over 163 like subcategories under the umbrella of MK Ultra.
Yeah. They were the safe houses. They were.
But at this point, it was, sorry.
No,
it
you're good.
was beyond just the U.S.
Yeah,
Because you said
that's-
Canada.
Yes,
Yeah.
so he had people in Canada. It was
people-
all for this research, but
In Europe, there's prison camps, German prison camps, where there's people who were in prison during World War II. They were testing it on them in Europe. There's a whole bunch of different areas. There's one in Japan.
Yeah.
It was
They were even testing it on people who didn't even know they were being tested.
yeah, exactly.
Most of them didn't.
Most people didn't.
Yeah.
Some people did volunteer and sign up, but most
Well,
people
even
did
some
not.
of them, even the ones who volunteered, they weren't even know what they were volunteering for.
Oh yeah.
This
they
dude
just-
was diabolical.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
basically said we have this experiment, and they said okay. They had no clue what they were being given.
Well, he always went under the guise of national security. This is for national security. So people, patriotic. Oh yeah, let's, what can we do?
Exactly.
Never trust the government.
Bro, this is
Dude,
freaking me
I'm just
out.
saying.
I'm going to go live in a trailer down by the river.
Trailer
No,
by
you
the
just,
river.
he's gonna end up like John Malkovich in freaking Red. He's gonna live
Carrying
in a
around a
bunker
teddy bear.
under the hood of an old car that's covered in tinfoil. I mean, I don't blame you.
This is creeping me out.
So they're experimenting on all these mental patients, right? They pushed some of them so far that one guy jumped off the roof. Like he was just so badly messed up, he just jumped off the roof and killed himself. There was another a documented case of somebody given LSD for 176 days straight. Every single day. Dang. It didn't say whether or not they died from it. I mean, that's a long freaking time.
It was permanent
I feel like you would never
complications.
come out of it.
Yeah, there's permanent
Yeah, it was
complications.
given
in that
to a
patient.
mental patient in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 170.
So
days or whatever.
crazy. And again, it was all he was trying to destroy the mind using these psychedelics and these drugs so that they could replace it. There's another instance where they were basically trying to brainwash this one woman to shoot another woman in the same room who was asleep. So using these drugs, using suggestion, hypnosis, trying to get her to kill the other person.
Well, he kept pushing it because he wasn't getting the results he wanted. Like he was so set on getting these results, so he kept pushing it further and further and further. Okay, let's con people into going to a party, and then he'd secretly dose all the people in the party with LSD.
What?
Yeah,
Jeez.
Sounds like a mind trip.
Yep.
literally. Yeah, it was
And
yeah.
I want to put this out there. This is true. Like this is fact.
proven.
This is
all factual. Yeah.
Yes.
history.
Yes.
This isn't like a made up story because it sounds like a made up story, and that's what's like. I'm having a hard time
it's so
wrapping my head around.
insane.
Yeah.
Again, like he literally just did whatever he wanted for as long as he wanted. Nobody bugged him for years.
Well, and we spoke on a previous podcast about how I think it was on who is that guy that just hung himself?
McAfee.
McAfee.
Yeah, McAfee.
We talked about how when you get these giant conglomerates with a bunch of money, there's like they have so much power you just don't understand.
Exactly.
It's something you can't fathom, and this is a prime example of that power.
And money's a motivator. Like you literally have people who are probably in such dire needs that they would even kill for a very small amount of money.
I mean, I might.
See, there you go.
Good to know we have one amongst us.
Mr. Pink.
Like we said, we could have a spy.
If he comes next time with an umbrella, let me know.
But so not only was there a couple deaths like in that mental institute, one of the most notable deaths that resulted from Project MKUltra was that of Frank Olson. Now, Frank Olson, he worked for the United States Army. He was a biochemist and a biological weapons researcher. So he was one of the people given LSD without his knowledge.
He's one of the guys at the party.
Yeah,
There was
and
a corporate retreat or whatever.
and apparently Gottlieb was his boss.
Yes. Yeah. She
You
directly
know?
reported to Gottlieb.
So Gottlieb would just treat him like his own little personal experiment, right? And he worked with just kept dosing this guy. Well, he had no idea, but he one day decided he wanted to resign. And Gottlieb's like, you know what? I get it. Like, why don't you go take a little vacation? Maybe go take a little get some counseling and stuff. You're not feeling great, whatever. Sends him off to New York. He goes and stays in a hotel. Well, one of the days he's in the hotel, he's only there for a day or two, he jumps out the window and kills himself. Supposedly.
Right.
It was actually
He Epsteined himself, huh?
Exactly.
it was said as a suicide at first.
He was suicided.
Exactly. So the CIA comes out and says, "Oh, this guy committed suicide." Tells the family. Everyone accepts it.
No,
Well-
they didn't. The family didn't accept it.
They kind of accepted it, but they were still like, "Oh, I don't know." But still, at this point, nothing had come out about MKUltra, so there was no reason to think anything
We're
crazy had
going to
happened.
kill yourself.
But
His family.
But once they started looking into the autopsy and what was wrong with them and stuff, that's when they started to see things that didn't really line up.
Yeah. Well, his family. He had told his family that that work wasn't what he was signed up for. It was not where he wanted it to go, and that he wanted to get rid of it. He was talking to a fellow worker though about wanting to blow the lid on it, which comes out later. But
Well, and so the day that he committed suicide,
Ken's
He-
using quotations.
yes, I am. He called his family that morning and told them he's doing great. He, can't wait to be home, all this stuff. He washed his socks and hung them out to dry. I mean, who washes their socks
I wash
before they
my
kill
socks.
themselves?
Oh, okay.
You're still here.
Well, you paused and then you continued. So
But all these things didn't add up. The window that he jumped out of wasn't actually really big enough for him to get through. And his injuries didn't align with falling out of a building. Like there were other injuries that suggested that he was possibly beaten before.
He landed face up when he hit the ground. And then, but he also had a bash on his skull that they found later. They had to read. They did, what is it?
The family
his
had,
body.
the family did it much later.
Yeah, but the family got paid off by President Ford. They got paid $750,000. Yeah, $750,000 to just be quiet about it.
Real quick, what time frame are we in?
So he had jumped to his death in, was it 63? No, 53. Sorry, he jumped to his death in 1953, which is right around the beginning of all this. So still 10 years go by of these experiments being done before anything is noticed.
So this is only 4 years after, because you said it was in 49 that this kind of all started, right?
That's when the ball started rolling, because we were so scared of the Soviet Union and brainwashing
Gotcha.
and nukes and all that
And then
stuff.
this was in
So
53,
right
so-
around 53 is when MK Ultra actually was like started and rolling.
So if he couldn't get through the window, how was he thrown from? Was he taken to the roof and thrown from the building?
So again, later on, we're talking like 70s late 70s is when they start to really blow the lid on some things. That's when they figure out that he was essentially beaten and possibly killed before he even was thrown off the
So they
building.
pretty much probably just took him to the top of the building and threw him off.
Yeah.
In so much as the suicide was actually reversed to homicide.
Okay.
Like the ruling was.
Okay.
Exactly.
They did rule it back then.
They ruled
Yep.
it to a homicide.
His family received $750,000. This is in 1975. Received $750,000 settlement from the U.S. government, formal apologies from President Gerald Ford and the CIA Director William Colby. So all this stuff. Fly, get out of here.
And it's driving me crazy.
Bro. Flies,
God,
flies
that
and
scared the-
pigeons. They're not real. They're all part of the bourgeoisie.
It's true. Did you notice that this
Bro,
fly
actually,
showed up after
that's
we got
another
into this?
another fun conspiracy. Pigeons aren't real. We'll get back to that another episode. It's wild. Okay, so about 1963, I believe there was a new CIA director, wasn't there? Mm-hmm.
So this is 10 years later.
Yeah, he catches wind of this program and all this crazy stuff happening. Starts to look into reports and stuff. They come out and realize all this just deeply unethical stuff is going on. People are being experimented on without their knowledge. American people. And so they come out and say, like, this is seen both inside and outside of the CIA, completely unethical, unorthodox, and they start to like bring everything back and kind of slow down all the experimentation. Didn't stop it fully yet. They started like doing less.
What was the place in San Francisco? That was Project
Oh yes,
Night something.
this is the best.
This
Okay.
is the worst. This is the most messed up.
It's so weird. So there was another big project, where they essentially would hire a bunch of prostitutes,
Women of the night.
women of the night,
Like Batman?
harlot,
Women of the night.
those two.
So real quick, on Ladies and Lattes, when they do an episode after dark and they take some alcohol, we call them creatures of the night.
These were that. So the CIA basically went to these prostitutes, started in New York, and they would hire them to go find random men, get them to purchase their services. They would then drug them,
What the
perform
hell?
their deeds on them, and try to convince them to share secrets.
Project
And-
Midnight Climax. Sorry.
You took away my freaking reveal!
I was trying to reveal that. My bad. I'm sorry.
I could have set you up for it.
I'm sorry.
I took away Cam's reveal.
That was the
Chris
weakest
took away
climax
Kendra.
ever.
I was trying. I'm sorry. I was trying to think of the name. It
what
was
she
bugging
said.
me.
That's the.
Go ahead, roll into
So-
it. We'll pretend like we didn't hear it.
So, anyways, these ladies of the night performing their deeds on these men, trying to get them to expose their secrets, was dubbed Project Midnight Climax.
Oh my God.
Right on the nose.
Woo!
Climaxed on the nose?
No. So that's something else.
At midnight.
Yep.
Ooh.
That's pretty well timed.
I'm sorry. But they say that house was so wired and bugged that if you spilt any water in it, you'd be electrocuted with all the wiretaps, all the.
What about other than water?
Well, they had. So here's the crazy thing. The guy in charge of it. Who's the guy in charge of it?
I forgot his name, but he was a super creep.
He was a creep. So
Something
he
white,
had,
I think.
He had his own room next to the room where the deeds would happen, and he'd witness it. And his only piece of furniture in that room was a toilet. He'd sit on a toilet the whole time, watching.
Dang.
I didn't read that part. That is weird.
It's insane.
The guy who hosted this thing?
Yes.
The guy who was in charge of Project Midnight Climax. Yes.
Yes. He was quoted saying that the reason he joined the CIA was because where else could a red-blooded American basically like kill, have sex, do drugs, all this stuff under the sanction of the man or whatever, something like that. Essentially saying, where else could I do all these horrendous things, but it's okay because they're
Legally.
letting me do it.
Like-
Exactly.
But he turned
He's a
it.
creep.
He turned it into part. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, did Gottlieb have anything to do with Project Midnight?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it was
Okay,
another one of the
it's all
sub
just-
projects.
Dang.
Yeah, and that was one of his favorites. From what
Oh yeah.
I was. Yeah.
It eventually moved.
Of course it would be.
moved out to San Francisco, and they kept doing it there. Even after this had been shut down,
Excuse me.
they still would use the services of prostitutes for other stuff.
Well, the head guy, you should look up his name because he's a creeper.
It's gross.
But he started getting too interactive with it, and he'd start bringing in his own women and going to the room, and then
Oh, and
dosing
he would
them.
record it.
Yes.
He would actually save the recordings
In the name of
so that-
science.
so that he could later blackmail some of these people if he needed to. So just all kinds of crazy stuff. So, I mean, not only do you have Gottlieb who created this whole thing, but now underneath it, you have all these other agents and people who are just doing whatever and just having, running amok on U.S. soil, on U.S. citizens, on all this stuff.
Amok.
Ow.
You know the Madsen family? They are actually tied to MK Ultra as well.
There's a lot of stuff. So that's the problem, is that when the CIA did finally call themselves out, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
they didn't really do it in a smart way. They essentially created this now massive conspiracy riddled theories. Like you now have the Manson family's connected. They think it's connected to Watergate. There's things that are connected to JFK, like his assassination. So like all this stuff all of a sudden just intertwines into everything because they handle it so poorly.
Yeah.
I think I heard the JFK one, that the guy who assassinated him was supposedly under
An agent of
brainwashing.
MK Ultra. Yeah.
That's what they thought. Because again, like I mentioned earlier, they tried to get that woman to kill somebody. They were trying to implant codes into people's brains to where you could be a normal American, not even know that you were under hypnosis or mind control. He would hear a trigger word and you would kill somebody. You would go suicide bomb something. You would do something to someone somewhere.
Yeah. So who was the guy who killed JFK? So
Lee
the guy,
Harvey.
what?
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah. Okay.
Supposedly.
So the guy who killed him is supposed to be tied to MK Ultra 2 to take out the assassin of JFK. Like there's a bunch of that's conspiracy. That's not proven. So let's get that in the way. But yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy. I mean, what were they capable of? I mean, they were obviously capable of torturing and
Well, I was gonna say there's reason to believe that the reason Lee Harvey Oswald was killed is because of that, because
he was going to
he was gonna get exposed,
yeah.
and so that's why he's taken out of the police station and he gets assassinated because of fears of what he's gonna expose.
Exactly. So, to kind of wrap it up, in 1973, amid the government wide panic caused by Watergate and everything that went down with that, the CIA director at that time, Richard Helms, he ordered that the MK Ultra files all be destroyed. So they literally took everything, burned it all, except they forgot to burn about 8,000 financial documents. So those financial documents paired up with testimony from people who have been experimented on and kind of figured it out, that is essentially how this all came to light.
So they were trying to hide it.
Oh,
Still.
100%. They were trying to wipe it all out.
So if they would have remembered those 8,000 documents or whatever, this all would have never existed.
Exactly. So even though like the stuff we do know, who knows what we don't know? Like a full investigation into MK Ultra is impossible at this point.
Well, there's another tie off of that to where they were actually experimenting on children. That hasn't been proven. That's conspiracy theory too, where these women came out saying that as they were young, they had what's that associative or where there's two split personalities.
Disassociative,
yeah. Split personality or whatever. They would find these children and they had like alpha, beta, and so one would be suicide, like suicide kamikaze style. They'd have one who was like a sex trafficker to get secrets with all these kids, and you had all these later ladies come out and talk about all this. But that hasn't been proven. But I mean, with all the files they destroyed, I mean, I wouldn't have put it past them. It's crazy.
Wow.
So there was a guy that wrote an article in the New York Times about Sidney Gottlieb, called him the poisoner in chief. Basically talking about all the experiments he did. This caused like the United States Congress to put together a group to investigate. They formed what they called the Church Committee. The vice president at the time put together the Rockefeller Commission, who also was meant to like investigate into the CIA and what they were doing and all these things. So I mean, I feel like a lot of sanctions and rules came from this. Like once they realized how much rain, most likely, let's be honest.
Right.
But yeah, so this is kind of when everything broke out and there was just all kinds of investigation into it. But again, you've now, like you mentioned in the very beginning, you have completely undermined any trust whatsoever we could ever have in the CIA. And now more substances are being forced upon people in
like
this day and age.
New York just passed a law that they have to get it done.
Yeah.
That's unconstitutional.
People are getting fired. Like medical workers are being fired because they're not getting it. CNN's firing
CNN
people.
just fired like 8 people because they
zero
refused to get
tolerance
vaccinated.
It's insane.
Zach, how are you feeling, bro? I
Did
think
you
you're
get
the only one here that got vaccinated.
You
You guys not got vaccinated?
What's
you
your safe
got
word?
the freaking Fauci ouchie.
I did get vaccinated, yes.
Got the Fauci ouchie.
Let's see. Let's start spewing some German words. See if anything triggers anything.
You better not. What if?
Blitzkrieg.
Krankenhaus.
Gottlieb. Ich bin ein Berliner.
That's it right there.
What do they say in
Gonna kill us with his
friggin' Captain
water
America
bottle.
Winter Soldier? What do they say to the Winter Soldier? What are the words? The code words? It's probably that.
What if us saying those words just triggered a bunch of people?
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm telling you, this fly is a freaking robot, and it's just recording everything.
It's driving
know
me.
It's just flying around.
Didn't
Just
show up until
Get
we
it,
started
Tony,
talking
get it,
about
get
this.
it.
We've never had a fly in this house before. Get him!
Oh, not fast enough.
Nope, government's got us. Government's got us.
Did you get the vaccine?
That's good.
I
That's
started changing my voice there.
gosh.
I will say this about the vaccine. It literally took me out for like 2 days.
No.
I heard it's like the worst
Wow, they
thing.
brainwashed you.
That's
Exactly.
probably what was going on. That was the
They
brainwash
needed him
right
under.
there.
I don't remember
Dude,
anything
I-
for 2 days.
So I got it on a Thursday. That Friday, I literally slept all day long. Like I was out. I was asleep pretty much the whole
They
day.
had him hooked up to a recorder, just replaying messages.
Now, what if this Wuhan virus was meant to then cause a need for a vaccine? Cam's pumping the brakes.
I mean, no, I'm just saying. I'm not saying. But I'm just saying.
I mean, here's
If we weren't
here's big
canceled
picture.
before, we are now. So
Here's big picture, right?
Damn you, Bill Gates.
We can't trust the CIA after this.
No, you can now, though.
And it was international, right? Because it was in Canada, it was in Germany,
Yeah.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
You named off a bunch of different countries.
And again, we don't know everything. Documents were burned.
How long was this in effect for?
10 years.
That was the guy. What was the name of the guy? Gottlieb. He was
Gottlieb, yep.
he was in
Gottlieb.
control for.
So what you're saying
for 10
is-
years,
Yeah.
and Biden's got 4.
So it will, and it was like,
Sweating. I'm so uncomfortable right now.
Okay,
So what you're
What if
saying
we
is
die?
we've got another 10 or 9 years of COVID to be going on.
no, we
mean-
got 7.
7.
Yeah, you
COVID's
can
only been going for a year.
I know, but you can only have Biden in office a total of 8 years.
yeah, it's true.
Anyway, so it's all jokes,
sketchy,
guys.
dude.
It's jokes,
Yeah.
but kinda.
We're joking seriously.
Yeah, we're joking. Seriously.
All jokes are based in truth.
I'm serious though. Like, how creepy is that?
It is very creepy.
We have 4. Well, there's Johnson and Johnson. There's Pfizer. There's
Moderna.
Moderna, and was there another one?
Yeah.
No, there was just the 3.
There's another one.
Are you
Because
sure?
there's 2 single doses. So Johnson & Johnson's a single dose, and they actually went with old technology like the flu shot.
Yeah, but they were also sketch and got pulled for a while.
They did.
Yeah.
So what if these guys are just underneath the umbrella?
I mean, because again,
MK China.
they could not know. Bro, and that's the thing is so much evidence is coming out right now that this was in fact something manufactured in a lab
Yeah, there's more
China.
there's more evidence saying it that way than the other way.
Yeah, they tested animals all around Wuhan and none of them had any kind of COVID
That would lead to that.
that could lead to it being, procured by somebody eating from one of those crazy wet markets down there in Wuhan.
Yeah. No, I thought it was proven that it was.
Pretty much.
Man-made.
They're just not
Oh, yeah.
saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people are saying it, but there's other people who are trying not to let
We're
anyone
trying to
say
say
it.
that it was a bat.
Yeah.
Just look at the Fauci emails. Just from the beginning.
Which, you know what? If it was a bat, we would have had COVID years ago thanks to Ozzy Osbourne. So.
Yep. I mean,
No, he was the first to come up with the vaccine.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, he bit the head off the bat.
Yes.
they
didn't
actually
get bit
used
by the
his.
Oh, okay. I'm
So
sorry.
he
gave the bat.
Okay, so he gave the bat.
That's where
They
it started.
actually used his saliva in the vaccine because he's immune to bats.
That's creepy, dude.
Just kidding.
Especially when
Not
you
really.
consider that, like, I remember a few years ago, there were a lot of people being like, my body, my choice. Right? Do you remember that about
Oh, they still-
vaccines? When like polio wasn't it the measles that had an outbreak in
no,
like Oregon?
that was one of them. What was there was the other one.
I thought it was smallpox, wasn't it?
I thought it was for abortion that they were
a-
saying.
Well,
that.
that
Yeah,
one
the
is
abortion
mostly for
was a big
abortion,
one.
but they would also use it. Anti-vaxxers would
Okay.
take it and use it too. What was that? What's that other disease that kind of was getting big in Africa recently?
Measles? Mumps?
No.
Is there B in it? I keep forgetting the name.
Bubonic plague?
It makes you bleed from the eyes.
Oh.
It's not haunted. What is it?
No, it's an old virus. It's been around for a long time, but it
Yeah,
was
but
making
we had
a
the
comeback.
scare where the guy came from. The doctor came
Yes.
back and was quarantined for it.
Yes.
What is that virus?
Well, it's just crazy to me that within a few years, literally people are going from like my body, my choice,
Ebola.
to then all of a sudden it's like, no, you need to get this.
Yeah.
Like, where's that switch? Are they being mind controlled? Are we slowly becoming the
MK
minority?
Ultra never stopped.
It's still going.
It's still happening.
Or
And
the
now it's just
world-
underneath the guise
or
of
the-
COVID.
Or the world's
Hell
just full
Hydra.
of hypocrites. It's
gonna
one or
say-
the other. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then MK Ultra didn't work on me because
How do you know?
You're the only one that got the vaccine.
You would be brainwashed.
exactly. So you would think I would try to be talking you guys into it.
No, he's gonna call somebody as soon as he leaves here. So somebody follow him home.
He calls somebody, starts speaking in German.
Tony's got to ride with him home, so we'll find out real quick.
Next thing you know, Tony's gonna be like,
Tony, call
I
me
got
when you
the
get home.
vaccine somehow. I don't know
Call me
what
when you get
happened.
home.
Yes, I've planted the seed. These idiots will have vaccine by end of month.
And then we go to discotheque.
I'm just
If
gonna
you're still here, please support us. We are 100% demonetized on this episode. We already know.
we've officially lost half of our subscribers.
That's fine. We're fine.
Everything's fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're all fine. I mean, let's just think one day, are we just going to be walking down the street and just like a freaking dart syringe is going to be thrown at us and just.
Well, they were going to come
Injected.
to our doors knocking.
Now come on, knock on my door.
Yep. I'll be waiting for you.
I saw this this TikTok. Of course, it's like right.
Always.
minor, but he made a good point in the fact that he took all these marketing classes, and he made a good point in that when you're a marketer, when you give away something for free, you become the item of worth, right? So what, like, you're buying them to then into the brand in essence, right?
Loyalty.
Yeah. Because they're like, oh, wow, I get this for free. That's awesome. Oh, I love your brand now. You know what I mean? You're biased. And so it's like the government never gives away anything for free unless it wants something in return.
Exactly.
And so you are now the product. And it's like, well, people are like, well, what about health? What about, taking care of people? Well, it's like, what about all the kids that are starving? Where was their care? Why is the vaccine so predominant even over food right now?
Right now. What about one of the biggest issues that's causing death in America? Obesity. Why are we not giving away free gym memberships from the government if you truly want to stop people from dying?
I saw one where it was like, what about insulin for kids with diabetes? Why isn't that free?
Well, I was listening to a guy podcasting too, and he's like, why didn't they push for people to start having a healthy lifestyle? Because your mortality rate severely drops if if you're active.
Yeah.
And
Again,
in shape.
obesity is like the biggest leading cause of death in the United States right now.
Yeah.
So why are we not working towards this? And this is my thinking is I 100% do not believe the government has my best interest at heart in anything.
No,
They do not care about me living or dying.
you're just a number.
So why do they want so badly for me to get it? That's the part that I just can't trust. You know what I mean?
Conform.
No.
Conform.
No.
Oh man, I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
Dude.
And if I am asleep, for the rest of my life.
No.
You want to tell me? Here's the problem I have with it: is they suppress all the things that may deter you to get it, but they promote all the things that are good for it. Give me both options and let me make my own damn choice on it. Dang choice on it. You know what I mean?
Hey, go ahead.
Yo,
It's
bro, let it
demonetized.
out.
Let it out. You can say damn.
Well,
Like, I don't know.
no, for real. And that's the other thing too, is like people get so mad about it. It's such a
Yeah.
weird hot button issue. See, like I could care less who has it. Like I don't think you're dumb if you get it. I'm
No.
like, cool, good for you. But that's the beauty of what this country should be is you can get it if you want to, or you cannot get it if you want
You
to
can
not
leave your
get it.
friends
Yeah.
behind.
See, and that's my whole purpose behind getting it is I don't give two craps. Like,
You gave one crap.
well, I did. No, like I honestly, like when it came to getting the vaccine, like it made, I don't know. To me, it's like we wanted to go travel. We wanted to do this and this, and it made life a little bit easier to do it. It's like, great.
See, and that makes sense. That
I'll
makes
do a
total
choice.
sense.
Yeah. I'll do it, and it's, I don't know. I'm not into the conspiracy side of it all. So I really honestly didn't care whether I got it or not. I didn't care. So
Yeah.
made my life a little bit easier as far as work went, no mask, all this stuff. I'll get it. I don't care.
But see, you still have to wear a mask.
Well, that's what's pissing me off now.
That's
I'm
the
not
other
gonna lie.
thing.
I could see that coming.
That's the other thing. Honestly, like they messed that up in the very beginning.
Well, they did.
If you wanted everyone to get vaccinated, all you had to do was go, hey, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask.
Which they did.
Everyone would have fudged and done it.
They did. But now they've reverted back to masks again.
Because
we
of
don't
the
care if you've been
Delta.
vaccinated or not. You need to wear a mask again because of this Delta phase. No. Bullshit.
There
Here's the other thing. Go ahead.
There was a doctor who said with the cloth mask too. He's like, it's like throwing sand through a chain link fence.
Yes.
Is what it's like. So it's just for looks. But then the thing that always gets reverted to people is, oh, you don't give a crap about the elderly. You don't care about anybody. You're selfish for not wanting to get the vaccine. Don't sit and put that on me.
You don't see me going to a freaking old folks home and kissing all the ladies, do you? Like, if I'm afraid of getting an old person sick, maybe I'll just not be by that old person. Am I wrong?
No,
We're ranting.
What's better than
This is a
6
rant.
feet? 600 miles. So I don't know.
I don't have an opinion one way or another. I haven't gotten it because I hate shots.
So you have an opinion.
Again, I just find it all weird. It's suspicious to me. The hypocrisy, like you said, you have so many people in government who were like, if this vaccine comes out under Donald Trump, I'll never take it. Heck no, I won't take it. This is
That video
stupid.
the other day.
You should see all those clips.
Yeah, and
Of
then
all those
immediately
people.
after he loses the presidency, now Biden's in control. Now they're all like, oh, vaccine. Everyone get your vaccine. Here's some free burgers. You want to be entered in a chance to win $1 billion? How about some free guns? Everyone get the vaccine. Yay. I'm like, it's the same thing that you were fighting against
Yeah.
just a month ago.
I mean, you can't deny that there's something not fishy
It's
about
just
it.
weird. It's just too fishy.
Like, why are they giving away stuff?
Exactly.
Why are you entering into a lottery system to win something?
For the good of humanity.
But why? and see, at the root of it though is, if you're vaccinated and you're protected from the disease, then why does it matter if I am vaccinated?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Have you seen that news report where they're like, if you get vaccinated, you have a 0.01% chance of dying. You are 25 times more likely to die from this if you don't get vaccinated. I was like, math. So 0.025. So you're like a 0.25% chance to die from this?
Yeah, dude.
Like, it's like, that's like, they're like fear mongering on
Quarter
about
of
it.
a percent.
A quarter of a percent. It's like, you guys just told on yourselves.
I saw the best recreation, I guess, of a scenario of this, right? It was a ginger, which I thought was hilarious. But this ginger was like, I'm sunburned. I am so mad I got burnt. Someone around me must not have been wearing sunscreen. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm wearing sunscreen, so I should be okay. But someone around me wasn't wearing sunscreen, so I got burned. It's like, yeah, that's how vaccines work.
How it feels. And here, the thing is it's not even a conventional vaccine. Like, honestly, they shouldn't.
It's brand new
even call
technology.
it that, because like a vaccine is, you take a piece of the actual disease, you inject it, your body fights it off and builds an immunity to it.
Yes.
The COVID-19 vaccine is not that.
It hijacks
It takes
your DNA.
something. Yeah,
It hijacks it.
It takes something that it thinks could possibly be like COVID, and makes your brain or makes your body produce
The spike protein.
to fight it.
Yeah.
It's not even like full-on antibodies
That you produce antibodies. So you're...
to fight this made-up thing that isn't COVID-19, so that in hopes of, if you get COVID-19, it can still make it again and actually fight it.
Fact check me. This is 100% truth. And what it does is it takes your DNA, it takes your cells, changes the DNA to start producing a spike protein that represents the COVID virus. Your body then starts producing antibodies to fight the spike protein, is what it does. But some people, never mind, we won't get into that. But so that's exactly, it's brand new technology. It's not even FDA approved. If you want me to take it, FDA approve it. Like, legitimately.
Yikes, dude.
I always
What's up,
lose
Zach?
when I gamble.
What's up? What's up, Zach?
What if in like 30 years it
Zach
comes
grows
out
another head.
and this is like MK Ultra version 2?
Zach's got something on his mind. You can see it on his face.
He's scared.
I'm not scared.
No.
I just, when it comes to this stuff, I'm so on the fence. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can see where you guys sit. I'm here, and I don't like what you're saying about all of it. Like, in all honesty, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
That your DNA is getting hijacked. That's cool.
I feel fine. I feel great. I'm
too.
the same person that I was before.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Yeah.
He's done having
But
kids. He
here's-
doesn't have cancer.
But here's the question: do you care if we got it?
No.
Okay. good.
Exactly.
See,
No,
and
that's
why.
how it
That's
should
the
be.
thing. And that's how we are. We don't care that you got it. We don't care if you don't.
Yeah,
I'm
like-
not saying I'll never get it. I'm just saying I'm going to give it some time.
Yeah. You never buy the first model.
That's true. That's true. Even manufacturing plants that have been making motors
And
for
my
years.
favorite is, I don't know where you guys are with this, but another argument I always hear is they're like, oh, well, it's going to be just like the flu vaccine. You get it every year. And I'm like, I don't actually get the flu vaccine ever.
See, I don't get
I
the
don't
flu
either.
vaccine either.
Well, see, I get the flu vaccine. Well, I used to. I haven't in a while. But
I
well,
found out
when
every
I
time I got
stopped
the flu
working
vaccine,
at
I
a
got the
corporate
flu.
job, I stopped getting the flu vaccine. But the interesting thing about the flu vaccine is you're not even getting the current year's
You're getting
vaccine.
last year's.
You're getting
Exactly.
last year's because it had to go through the time.
It's an educated guess on which strains there's going to be.
Yeah.
Is what it is, because some strains of the flu take over that year, like or dominant that year.
Now, to play devil's advocate,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
if the government really was up to something, wouldn't it be easier for them to just put it in the flu vaccine?
Yeah.
And then have it be underneath that guy's? You know what I mean? Like, there's that side of thing. Like, I always try and think of, okay, if this conspiracy is true, there's got to be a simpler way that they could just do it without
Yeah.
us knowing.
Well, it could be. You
different-
got to think of what is the end game? Is it to try and give us something, or is it?
To show
A
power
lot of
and
people are
control.
talking about control. Like a lot of people
See-
reference.
see how many
it's
people
about
conform,
control.
about
how many
conforming.
people are willing to give up their freedoms? I think one thing that a lot of people miss this day and age is just how important our freedoms are. Like
Yeah.
they don't get it. Like, I remember I can't remember what it was. I think we did a men try or something where we talked about freedom, and there were people in there that are like, America's not the only place that's free. And I'm like, I'm not saying it is. Oh, it was an Instagram post I made. They're like, America's not the only place that's free. I was like, I'm not saying it is the only place that's free, but it is uniquely one of the only places that has freedom, true freedom of speech.
Yes. Until we're demonetized. Then we're swaying.
I mean,
a little bit.
we can still talk. We're just influenced into not talking as much because we want that money. But you know what I mean? Like, people don't get, like, there's people getting arrested for having this exact conversation in other countries.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. Australia.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's a lot happening in Australia.
Hopping.
Canada.
Canada. Yeah.
Canada, you can go to jail for saying mean things to people.
What?
They classify it as hate speech and they can put you in jail.
Dang.
The thing is, they make these laws and make them so broad to where they can use them for anything.
Yeah, because what's the definition? Who's to say us calling him a ginger could be considered
That
hate
is hate
speech?
speech.
Great, now we're in Canadian jail.
See, I don't.
Wait. How bad is Canadian jail? I gotta know.
I mean, they're probably real nice.
They're like maple
Three.
syrup pancakes in the morning.
A little poutine in the afternoon.
Little poutine.
Sorry,
Poutine,
go ahead,
not
Chris.
poutine.
I'm going to throw this out there. I don't think the government's up to something with that. I just think it's my choice to not take a experimental vaccine
No.
that hasn't been tried and true, hasn't
Wow.
went through all the proper testing.
And
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I think at this point it is our choice. It's our thing. Here's what frustrates me the most about it is the government has come out and said, get the vaccine, we can go back to a normal life. We started going back that way. And now we're reverting back, supposedly.
Hold on. You believe the government?
Well, no, but I'm saying that's where my frustration is coming in because now we're slowly reverting back to higher numbers and they're blaming it on the unvaccinated, which I don't fully believe.
Yeah.
But now they're saying you need to wear a mask again, whether you've been vaccinated or not. No. The reason I got this stupid vaccine is so I didn't have to wear a dumb mask anymore, so I could travel more. And now they're going to slowly start restricting again, and I have a fear that we're going to go under lockdown again.
I think
and
it's
then we're
gonna
going to be
happen in the fall.
determined to be, forced to depend on the government again. And that's what's really frustrating me about this.
And
It's like
that's-
you put out this vaccine with all these promises, and then you turned around and said, "Ha, screw you guys, we're going to go back again."
Well, and here's the scariest thought. Okay, this is the thing that could potentially keep me up at night. is we're sitting here talking about, what's the government trying to pull with this vaccine? What are they trying to inject us with something? They're trying to do this. What's even scarier to think is they could be like, hey, look at this vaccine, disease. And they're doing something completely different.
Left field.
Exactly.
Like a magician.
They're trying to do some kind of other stuff that we can't even see coming.
Yeah.
And again, it all stems from crap like MK Ultra. Like, they do not have our best intentions at heart.
Interests at heart.
Interest, anything. Yeah. They want to take money from us. They want to control us. Like, every powerful entity in the world has always tried to control everything else.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Exactly.
Oh man, what did it? It was Benjamin Franklin said something. He said, "If you give up freedom for safety, you deserve neither." Right? Something to that degree. That's very, very smart.
Dang, that's
I remember there was a quote from Ronald Reagan where he said, the scariest thing to any American, for any American to hear, should be, "Hi, I'm from the government. I'm here to help."
It's true. He did say.
And he said that while he was president.
Yeah.
dude. Okay, I've worked at the government before. I will tell you, there are not so bright people in the uppers.
No.
Oh no!
Like, I'm like,
How'd you get there?
How are you a top-ranking official? And I'm literally a high school graduate working on your computer.
You kind of said it earlier. It's a marketing ploy. Politicians are nothing but the best marketers out there for
They're
themselves.
marketing themselves.
No offense, whether you're for him or against him on either side. You're saying that for the last 4 years, we had Donald Trump as our president, and he was the best we could come up with.
Yeah,
like him or hate him,
Oh,
he's the best we could come up with.
How many
And
peop-
now we have Biden.
How many
You're saying
millions of
he's the
people?
best we could come up with out of the many billions of people there is out there? Those two guys are the best we could come up to run this country?
There's 300 million in the U.S.
Like, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I feel like there is better than those two guys.
Yeah.
Love them or
well,
hate
that's
them.
because the smart ones don't run.
No, the problem is it's a money game, and you've got big corporations that fund
Yeah.
these candidates. So
Yeah.
pretty much they're giving you a choice to pick between these two candidates. Like all these other people who are independent or whatever,
Like
they
the boot
don't have
guy.
a chance in hell.
The boot guy. Yes. No, I honestly think like for the last quite a few elections we've had, I don't think it's been who's best. It's been who sucks less.
Yes.
The best
And
of
they
two
literally,
evils.
Yes, the best of two
they
evils, exactly.
literally the shiniest of two turds. They literally
You can only
had
polish a turd so much.
Every media outlet had a 4-year smear campaign on Donald Trump because they hated him so much. Got so many people to also hate him that they chose Biden instead. The man, I mean, honestly, we probably don't need to get vaccinated because according to Biden, 350 million Americans have already been vaccinated.
Yeah.
There's
Which
only
is-
330 million Americans.
No, but 350 million have been vaccinated.
Exactly. So we've got a surplus
I got vaccinated without knowing it
twice.
twice. I got targeted
Only a
twice.
few of us got it twice.
Yep. A few million.
Yeah, a few million.
I don't know. My big.
I mean, he just basically gave up MK Ultra, then,
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly.
we got vaccinated without
Got
knowing
vaccinated
it.
before we knew we were vaccinated. And we got vaccinated again.
Well, the extra are the people who are voluntarily getting vaccinated.
there
That'd
you
be
go.
So you got vaccinated twice.
Yes.
Double protected.
Done.
3 heads for you.
Now, but 2 masks,
This
please.
kind.
My big thing, I'm just me and my own meandering thoughts trying to figure out what the government could be up to. And it's like the only thing that I could truly think of would be like if we need to depend on the government, right? Then we become like if they're trying to push out the word just slipped my mind. What's it called when you get a fixed income, but it's not
Oh,
what's that called that other countries have where it's like everyone has
Oh, yeah.
well, you get a living income every month.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it just slipped my brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the idea is, right, you take away all these small companies, you suffocate the small business owners, people who need jobs, and then they depend on the government for income, right? So you start getting these monthly stipends. And all of a sudden, everyone gets a fixed amount of income. And
Universal income.
Yes,
That's
that's
it.
the one. Universal
Yeah.
income. So I think I can't remember what countries already have it, but
Switzerland.
but I feel like this is that transition period where they're slowly pushing towards universal income, and while doing that, they're also devaluing the dollar by generating all this extra cash
Yes.
that we don't have to then
Yup.
give people money, right? So devaluing the dollar, creating universal income, and then our housing market is just going to stay where it's at because the dollar is going to be devalued so heavily that the market will just stay where it's at. And then that will in turn push the new minimum wage to $15. And I don't know, like that's like the only thing that I can think of. And then our debt to China drops significantly because that number stays the same, but our dollar bill has been devalued. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing I could think of on why this would happen. Is like we need to pay back our debts. So what's the best way to do it? Devalue the dollar.
It just F the country.
Here's like, I think the government does have a lot of smoke and mirrors. They,
Oh, yeah.
Do you know the biggest thing? Red against blue right now. Red against blue. Red against blue. If they
Wait, Utah against BYU? Is that what we're talking
no,
about?
you know.
Kind of.
Donkeys
all
against
excited.
elephants.
Political.
Donkeys and elephants.
Oh, I was thinking
Donkeys.
Halo, red versus blue.
So that's what they're doing. They're pushing Democrats against Republicans. It's
And they keep us fighting because if we're fighting each other,
Yeah.
we're not fighting the government.
sucks for you. I'm independent. No, I'm just kidding. But,
I'm the Green Party.
but it's just they keep pushing that. But the thing is that both parties, we have a lot more in common, I think, than they want us to think.
Oh yeah.
To where, and I think it scares them. So they're going to keep us fighting against each other.
Yeah, I mean, we've I think we talked about this in another podcast, but we've gotten to the place where it's to anyone else, like because we're all friends, we can say, "Oh, you're vaccinated, not vaccinated, whatever, it doesn't matter." But to anyone else, if he could walk up and be like, "Well, I'm vaccinated," and I could be like, "Well, I'm not," and to him, that's like, I am 100% against you and your values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're in this weird division where
Yeah.
people just automatically assume that if we don't agree, we 100% disagree and hate each other.
On everything.
Yeah.
See, I've had that at my work. Before they made masks mandatory again, I was still wearing a mask because they said if you're not vaccinated, we want you in a mask still. So I was wearing a mask, and I had some customers. They're like, "Oh, are you wearing a mask because you're not vaccinated?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Good for you," as if I'm like standing up again. And I'm like,
None of
I
your
just-
damn business. That's what I would have said.
That's when you looked at him and said, I just hate needles. I'm sorry.
That's yeah.
I mean, when they said I don't have to wear it, even vaccinated or not, I mean, I'm just not wearing it.
Here's the other weird thing about it, right? Like your personal health is so secret, right?
Yes.
What do they call that where they need HIPAA?
Yeah.
Like your wife, if she's not on your HIPAA list, if you do not approve her as a person on your HIPAA list, she can't call and find out what your test results were. So why all of a sudden is it okay to ask someone
not.
if they've gotten the vaccine?
No,
Then why are these vaccine passports okay?
it shouldn't be.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
You're literally ruining your own right as an American.
Well, here's the
with
funny
HIPAA.
thing.
Then you don't need an ID to vote either. I mean, but you do have to have an ID to say you have a vaccine.
He's got a point.
It's valid. I mean, it's so stupid.
insane.
All of this.
I'll throw this out there. There was, and I won't, even though I want to, because I hate them, but I won't throw the name of the company out. I was in the back room of one of my accounts, and they had a list up on the board that said, if you are vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask. Unvaccinated, please still wear a mask. But to not wear a mask, you need to prove that you are vaccinated. So please see the store leader with your vaccination card. And I thought, no, that is completely against HIPAA violations. Like, no,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to tell you whether I'm vaccinated or not.
So is that like guilty until proven innocent?
That's where you go. I'll show you. Show me yours. I'll show you mine.
Right? Well,
You
that's
circumcised?
That's what I'm getting at. Show me your privates.
Well, that's-
you know what I mean? Like that's how it should be taken.
No.
Yeah.
that's what I that's
For
what I
real,
love
though.
about
I know.
That's what I love about Red Bull. Is Red Bull when they came out and said, "Hey, if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask anymore. If you haven't been, please still wear a mask." And they said it is on the honor system because we cannot, by law, ask you whether you have been or not.
Same.
And they said, but if there is an outbreak in one of your warehouses and we do come find out that it was because maybe you were unvaccinated, you had it, all this stuff, there will be repercussions.
That's kind of jacked up, though.
Well,
How would they find out?
Yeah, how would they find out? Because now there's a Delta variant.
Right.
But I mean, how can they ask you to find out if they're not allowed to
But
ask
that's
you?
the thing. That's what they're saying though. Is it's on the honor system, but if we do,
It's on
come
the
to
honor
find
system,
out-
but if you don't do it, then you will be dishonorably discharged.
The good thing
Anyway.
about COVID is it killed the flu off.
yes, it did.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No more
It-
flu cases.
For instance, it's like today. Kara just got a small.
That's not true.
A small sore throat and maybe a little sniffles. And in all honesty, I think it's because of the air conditions we have right now. They're absolutely horrible.
There's freaking smoke outside.
It is.
Literally breathing
It is.
in.
And so she's getting a
particulates.
sore throat, all this stuff. She
Same.
goes into work, a little bit of small of a cough. They turn around and say, "You need to go get tested for COVID."
It's like, have you
And-
looked out a window?
Yeah, and she's like, "Are you kidding me? Did you not see what it looks outside? I just have a small sore throat." And they're like, "Nope, go get tested." So she went to the doctor to get tested, and the doctor's like, "You don't have COVID, but if you need to get tested, we'll test you." She tested her twice and said,
Ooh.
"Have a good day. See you later," and turned her around. But
So
that's,
even though she's vaccinated,
yes, and she's vaccinated, yes. But that's what frustrates too is the flu no
like
longer
the
exists,
scarlet
the common
letter.
cold no longer exists, nothing like that exists anymore.
Well, it exists. It's just scary.
so
Yes.
I heard that some of the schools are going to force testing, and if your kid doesn't test, they have to go home for 10 days.
I don't know. I'm not
don't
too
know.
worried about Utah schools. I was talking. I work with somebody who is a teacher at junior high also, and he was saying that Utah, like counties, can't mandate masks for children in schools. It has to come straight up from like the Board of Education of Utah. Like they're the only ones that can't. Them and the health department have to team up and say it. And most likely, being Utah, it's not gonna happen.
It's a guy from your county or a person from your county who's in charge. I forgot.
No, I like he was saying that
Yeah.
in the last year we passed a law in Utah that
Yes.
they can't do it. It has to be Board of Education and Department of
Yeah.
Health.
Well, anyway,
That's all.
that was a long roundabout discussion of MK
See?
Ultra to
And-
COVID.
And that's what happens when the government experiments on people without their permission. We get this. Bring it back
Don't
around.
trust you.
We don't trust you anymore. I mean, I can't wait until we make it down the road and we can look back and be like, wow. Like,
I mean,
and who knows if we ever will. Might be one of those asking God questions like, what happened? Who was right?
Tony posted the other day, gosh, you stupid fly.
No, I didn't.
It's a weird thing to post.
He posted this the other day about how the less you know, the more happy you are. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
well, that's where the term ignorance is bliss has come from. I'm going to just put that right there with this whole thing. Ignorance is very much bliss.
But I got to know.
It is.
The
It's a
less
hard,
you know, the happier you are.
but also the more at risk you are. It's a difficult road to walk.
It
okay,
is. It is. That's this whole thing. It's, yeah.
He's scary. Getting older, having to know things, having to worry about crap is stupid.
Yeah.
And can we just put it out there? If you don't have the vaccine, we don't care.
Exactly.
If you trust the government, we don't care. We love you either way. Like,
Only
That-
if you give us 5 stars.
Nice. But yeah, that's the whole point. Is at the end of the day, we want to do what we want to do. We want you to do what you want to do, and nobody
Yes.
has to care about the other person doing the things they want to do.
that's why I was so hesitant earlier, because I don't want people to think like we're 100% against you if you don't do any of this stuff, because we're not.
We keep
Like, I
Zach
don't-
around.
Exactly. See?
We're about you making you happy.
Yeah,
Personal
exactly.
choice.
And your
Stop
family.
worrying about everyone else.
What other people think is none of your business.
Yes, I love that phrase.
I like that.
Right?
Bunch of crap rolling around in the world today. The last thing we need to do is worry about each other.
Poopy poop.
Just worry about
right.
yourself.
That's right.
Lead with kindness. Be kind to those around you.
Yeah.
Support your neighborhoods, honestly, your neighbors. Like, that's where this stuff matters.
Yes.
Support your circle. That's going to bleed out and just keep going, and everyone just be friends and kind to everyone.
Do what's good for you.
And if you've made it this far around, doing what's good for you would be hitting that subscribe button.
Yes. Or that join button.
Or that thumbs up button.
And that 5-star.
Yes, please. Share us with your friends, your family. Literally, word of mouth means the word to us. Means the most to us.
Yes.
You know what? And take a note out of the government's playbook and just turn it on for your friends, so they don't even know what you're doing. They just end up listening and loving it. It's like, well, instead of a little LSD, just slip them some 5s a crowd.
There you go, baby.
There
Like
we go.
There you go.
We'll make you hallucinate.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining. Oh my gosh, I cannot speak. I think that vaccine's hitting me. Wow. Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks
Take
for being
care.
part of this crowd.
Ciao.
Deuces.